For the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. Welcome. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the first item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Councilman Sweeney, if you could, I'd like to pull CC2. So if you could make that part of that motion? Yep. Excellent.
Motion to pull CC2.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Councilman Lay?
Mr. Chairman, can I add an agenda item? We'll call it overview of the America Byways Infrastructure Grant.
Yes, we'll put it at the end of the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
Yep, Tony.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Do you want to hold CC2 till later?
Yeah, and we'll put it at the end of the meeting, please.
The next item on the agenda is the submission of minutes. We have the town council meeting of August 2nd, and we have the executive session meeting minutes from August 2nd as well.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the public hearings. We have Alicia Saldana from Collie 34 Gooding Avenue, and this is a request for a Class BV limited liquor license.
As the clerk said, this is a public hearing, so we're going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor?
Well, probably they know already. right?
You can bring the mic down. It's set at 7 foot. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, yeah, 5 feet.
If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Alicia Saldana, and my address is 30 Parkside Place, Malden, Massachusetts.
Welcome
anyway.
again.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Anthony Bono, 52 Constitution Street. I'm not a practicing attorney in Rhode Island, but she was so nervous at lunch today. I said, if you want me to go with you, I'll go to the hearing with you.
Careful, we
So-
bite. So, yes. So, but please, you're here to speak in favor? Continue.
I actually started going to her establishment on a regular basis for lunch a week after she started. Her story, if you don't know it, is that of an immigrant. She's the chef, she's the bottle washer, she's the babysitter. She's a full-time mom and she runs a full-time restaurant. Food's great. It's unlike anything we have in Bristol. I would recommend the corn beef stuffed empanadas. And she tells me I say it with an Argentinian accent. I don't know. But in any event, I think she'd be a major asset to this town. And I'm hoping that you approve her license request.
Thank you.
I think, Tim, you've already eaten there, correct?
I have stopped in and I've seen you and
Yeah.
we've talked and I've looked around. So
Yeah,
very impressive.
yeah.
Doing a great job.
You have to go there.
We had the rotisserie chicken and
Yeah.
the May
Yeah.
salad this last weekend, and it was excellent. So
And Nate, you haven't gone?
Are you putting me on the spot here?
I am.
How do you think that's going to work out for you? I don't know. No, I haven't been yet. So
Anyway, that's all I have to say.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Please, you are more than welcome. You can speak in favor. That's what you're here for at the moment. So
Well, actually,
quite honestly, I don't think I've heard a higher thumbs up than you just got. So, but please feel free to add to it.
well, no,
So,
if you have any questions about it, I can answer any questions that you want.
I do. I have a question.
Mary,
Two questions, actually. So you're looking for a BV Limited, which is a beer and wine license?
For now, yes.
Yes. And so I looked at all of these, like pages and pages of all
Yeah.
of the wines and things
Wines,
like
yeah.
that. So do you envision at some point being like a wine bar?
Well, no, actually, I love wine, and you guys already know that I have another restaurant.
Right.
So I like to travel too. So that's the reason you have probably more than 50 different types of wine. So I'm not planning to have be a wine restaurant or a wine place there. My goal is to have the full liquor license eventually. But I think the process is to get first the beer and wine and after that, go for the first one.
Well, that's what we usually try to start people out that way anyway. But the other thing I just wanted to point out is the happy hour menu.
I know, I
Which-
didn't know that the
Yeah.
Rhode Island, they don't have a happy hour.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
different in Massachusetts.
Well, two things about it. One was that we don't have it, and the other is, I mean, the prices look good, but it's also you're promoting martinis and things that are beyond the wheat beer and wine.
Yeah, but because when I put the solicitation, I put for a general liquor license. After that, I talked with one person from the office here, and she told me the process will be in the
Mhm.
beginning beer and wine, and after that proceed with the full liquor.
Okay, I just wanted to point that out.
That's okay.
Sounds good, though.
Okay.
Those drinks.
Anything else for the council? No? Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone to speak against? Is there anyone to speak against? Is there anyone to speak against?
Chairman, motion to close the public hearing.
Second,
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is C1. This is ordinance 2023-16 to Chapter 17, Article 2 of the Alcoholic Beverage Establishments. And this is to increase the number of Class BV limited liquor licenses from 8 to 9. Second reading.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C2. This is ordinance 2023-17. This is to section 12-57 composition and elections. And this is to add an additional deputy fire chief. First reading.
Motion to approve first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Mary to approve first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C3. This is ordinance 2023-18, Chapter 16 to the Historic Preservation, Section 14-4 Historic District Commission. And this is to add an additional auxiliary member. First reading.
Make a motion, it constitutes first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary that this constitutes first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have to recuse myself.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item is the D1. This is Alicia Saldana for Collie 34 Gooding Avenue. This is the request for one additional Class BV limited liquor licenses.
Based on all the positive recommendations, make a motion to approve with a 6-month review.
Second,
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve with a 6-month review. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Congratulations. Good luck.
congratulations.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is D2. This is Fabio Lopes for Sunset Cafe, 499 Hope Street. This is a request for the sidewalk use license with alcohol service.
Based on the recommendations, I move that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
If I was just going to intervene there with a comment,
Go ahead.
If I may.
Certainly.
Just the recommendations made by the Director of Public Works, certainly it addresses not just them, but all the other businesses in terms of maintaining the property outside of the buildings clean, it's very important. And
Agreed.
also safe for the pedestrians.
Agreed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is D3. This is Courtney Gurton for Molly Palooza, 230 Wood Street. This is a request for a one-day dancing and entertainment license to be held at the Cup Defenders on Sunday, October 8th, 2023, from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Courtney, if you could state your full name and address for the record, please.
Courtney Gurton, 54 Charles Street in Bristol.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
How
you
many
for
years is this now?
having me. This will be the 12th year.
12th year.
12? Oh, wow. Wow. Gone
Outstanding.
fast.
Yes, I know. To think that it started off as a little party in my backyard. And last year we raised over 18,000.
Holy
For Almost Home
Wow.
Rescue.
Wow.
That's
Congratulations.
wonderful.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great.
you know how to throw a party, that's for sure.
All for the dogs. So yes, my part-time job in addition to my full-time job is in effect for the next 2 months, or 6 weeks, I should say.
Outstanding.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Interesting. And you said all for the dogs.
Every penny goes to Almost Home Rescue.
That's awesome.
Every penny. I even eat all my costs.
Do you know what total you've raised over the 12 years at a very
would
high
have-
level?
I would have to go back, but I'm guessing last year was a big leap because we raised 8,000 over the
Wow.
prior year because we offered sponsorships, which of course we're also offering sponsorships again this year. So if anyone wants to sponsor sponsorship packages.
Don't be
But
shy.
I
Don't
would
be
have to
shy.
say we're at least 50,000. I'd have to do a total.
That's okay. I
Which
just was curious.
I should do that because I actually do have all that information through the various Facebook pages.
That's
Every year
outstanding.
I've done a Facebook event page, so I would have that. I always report back.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, it's great.
So Courtney, here's your 30-second commercial opportunity. Go ahead. So what you said sponsors, how do they get in contact with you if they so choose to sponsor?
We are obviously selling tickets, but tickets are capped. So I do recommend that anybody purchase tickets in advance because we do limit it for capacity reasons. And so my Fisher men and women don't go crazy. I need to give them a final count. But if anyone wants to purchase tickets or sponsor the event or donate for the raffle, they can reach me. I have flyers, which I would love to have over here. That's okay. There's a Facebook event page. You can buy tickets online, and then Almost Home Rescue, their website has a slew of information on their news and event page as well.
And Almost Home is at what? What is it?
It's a nonprofit, all volunteer 501c3 dog rescue league that focuses on, that's committed to helping abandoned, abused, and rescued dogs solely in Rhode Island.
My family and I just adopted a puppy
I saw
and we're on
that.
our third.
I love that.
Lapse.
Is that your belated birthday present?
Kind of.
Oh, happy
What a better
birthday.
gift than a dog. I love it.
Yeah, neat stuff.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Council?
Based on all the
wish.
recommendations, make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve with all the recommendations. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck.
Great
Good
event.
luck.
Thank you. Is anyone opposed to me hanging up a flyer as well?
No,
You are more than welcome to. We have a
Motion to
wonderful.
accept. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Approved.
Wow. Did you see what happened there? Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is D4. This is Kevin Francis for the Bristol Golf Club, the Clubhouse 95 Tupelo Street. This is a request for one-day dancing and entertainment license for Sunday, September 17th from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Based on the recommendations, I move that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Discussion. If you could state your name and address for the record. And
Brianna Steinmark, 183 Bayview Avenue in Bristol. I'm the bar manager there at the clubhouse.
what is the one-day Sunday dancing and entertainment license for?
So one of our customers had requested to do a end of the summer bash, which is going to be a pig roast, and they also want to do a band. We're going to do it outside. I don't know if you guys have recently drove by, but we just built a nice bar and everything outside. We've been doing improvements to the clubhouse. So basically he came to us, he asked us if we can do it because we know we have to get the special permit because it's Sunday. My boss does want to stress the fact that we will have the entertainment part of it, which is the band, cleared out by 9 o'clock. We know it's Sunday, so we don't want to run it too late. I do have flyers.
Is it
also.
a public event or a private event?
It's going to be public. They're selling tickets for it. $35 for the ticket. They're going to do the pig roast by Dave's Party and Pig. And then there's also going to be chicken and potato salad, coleslaw, beans, all the fixings with it.
Excellent.
So there are some options, not just.
Yeah,
the
there
picnic.
won't just be the
Okay.
pig roast. There'll be other food there as well.
Good.
Mr. Solicitor, did you want to weigh in?
You mentioned something about a bar outside.
Yeah, we just built a bar recently on the deck, but we will have both the bar on the deck and inside open.
Right. My guess is that your current liquor license doesn't allow for expansion of the liquor service area to the outside.
So we can just do it inside.
That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Thank you.
She could also come with a request to expand. You could also do that too, like at another council meeting,
Okay,
request to, add the outside bar to you,
okay, Yep.
Melissa could fill you in on that.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So let's back up just a sec. So we have a motion and a second to approve, and I think we should amend that motion that it would exclude any outdoor bar serve. Mike, help me with the verbiage on this one, because obviously they can have a drink outside, but
Of
Yeah.
course they can, but
Yes.
it can't be service out on the deck, so.
So we just can't use the outside bar.
That's
Correct.
until
Okay.
or unless you receive permission from the council, you would have to file some new paperwork to accomplish that.
Okay.
I would
that
think,
be fine.
I don't know if it would get done, I don't think it would get done by the 17th, of September, but you'd probably want to do that if you spent the money on building an outside
Yeah,
bar.
we're not really finished with it
Oh,
yet.
okay.
So right now, people will get their drinks inside and they just sit outside at the outside bar. Because we do have the chairs and everything set up, but we don't have anything set up to like serve outside yet.
Okay.
so
We're still in construction. mode.
as already been pointed out, Melissa can, the town clerk,
Yeah,
can assist you with what documentation that you need. And the rationale behind it is that it's approved and checked by, well, it's approved ultimately by the council, but verified by multiple departments to make sure it's safe and in keeping with our local ordinances.
perfect.
Excellent.
Yep, I will definitely let my boss know that.
So can I assume that, who made the motion? I'm sorry, was it Tim?
I believe I did.
So
So
Tony, can you amend your motion to?
certainly to include the language that you stated.
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Excellent. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Enjoy it.
Well, good luck.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is D5. This is Melissa Goldstein, Rally for Recovery. This at 50 Asylum Road. This is a request for a one-day Sunday dancing and entertainment license to be held at the Town Beach Pavilion on Sunday, September 10th, 2023, from noon to 3 p.m.
Welcome. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Mackenzie O'Neill and I live at 219 Medicom Ave, Bristol, Rhode Island.
So tell us a little bit about the event.
So we do Rally for Recovery every year. It's a way for the Bristol has and the community to partner with the Recovery Center and just have a nice family event for the town to come to and just support this Rally for Recovery pretty much. We're just hoping to have the band, and yes, it is on a Sunday. So, and I know Melissa submitted the layout. She submitted a sketch and she said that she provided that. So yes.
Excellent. Any questions from the council?
Will any alcohol be served at this event?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I didn't think so, but I would ask.
I didn't think of it like that, Tony. Interesting.
Good question, Tim.
Yeah.
Based on all the positive recommendations, make a motion to approve.
Second,
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck with your event.
Thank you.
yes.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is D6. This is Leah Roberg for Roberg Enterprise LLC, doing business as Rivers and Roads, 382 Thames Street, Union 1. This is a request for transfer of the Class BV liquor license to Jennifer Medina for Cavallo Group LLC, doing business as Pisco y Tequila Bistro. This is for new ownership. This is called for public hearing on September 13, 2023. May I also note for the record that we did receive 2 additional creditors liens that are on the counter, which I believe the buyers and seller are both aware of.
So we typically would, obviously it's a public hearing, so we would discuss it at that point, but we typically, this council in the past has said that if we so choose to approve it, is subject to all outstanding liens and bills being paid prior to that. So, but that's not necessary for this evening, but it's a great point to bring up. Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we just need a motion for calling for a public hearing.
Motion to call for a public hearing on September 13th.
Second,
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to call for a public hearing. Lots of feedback, huh? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I didn't even see you up there. I am so sorry.
I
didn't look
snuck
as-
up on you.
Yeah, wow. Were you here to talk
Yes.
about this item?
Oh,
that we
if you
just?
had any questions for me, that was all.
Okay, all right. Doesn't look like it. So back on the 13th, and we'll have discussion at that point.
Thank you very
So-
much. See you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is G1. We have Rogers Free Library Board of Trustees. This is one unexpired term set to expire January 2024. And we have Laura A. Cabral of 5 Folk Court, and this is with the letter of resignation.
I make a motion to accept the letter of resignation with a letter of thanks for the service, for her service.
Second.
Would we also add to that we would advertise?
Advertise.
Excellent.
That's what I said. You
Mhm.
heard
I'm
it.
sorry, who seconded that?
Yeah.
Mary did?
Yeah,
Mary?
and they're
Okay.
in process too of advertising, aren't they?
Excellent. All right, so we had a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, next item on the agenda is G2. This is Harbor Commission. This is one unexpired term set to expire March 2025. And we have David F. Miller with a letter of resignation. And we have Owen O. O'Rourke with interest in appointment and Peter Silva also with interest in appointment. And these are the two persons that were interviewed last.
I was just going to point that out, is that typically we would advertise for interest and also to set up interviews, but we've interviewed both of these gentlemen. What's the council's
Yeah.
pleasure?
Make a motion to approve David's letter of resignation with a letter of thanks and to appoint Peter Silva as the candidate for the position.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim. As stated, any discussion?
Just, I think Peter Silver is an excellent candidate. He represents the commercial fishermen. And I believe on the Harbor Commission, we only have one other representative. So adding a second commercial fisherman is great. It's more representative of our community. So
Well said.
I'm in favor. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Bet you didn't come up this fast, huh, Sandy? Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I1. This is Sandra Mack, Bond Counsel for the town of Bristol. And this is the reimbursement resolution in the general obligation bond series 2023A. You will note that there is a revised version that was left at the council meeting received today at meeting.
Sandy, can you hit the highlights of the revised version, please?
Yeah, the only, it was an edit that relates to the authorization that's being used. We referenced incorrectly the public laws of 2012, and the correct reference should be chapter 239, 280 of the public laws of 2016. And that is only for a portion of the bonds. The other portion of the bonds is under 4512.2, and that's in the resolution. So this is for up to 6.860 in bonds. The preliminary official statement has been prepared. I sent final comments today. We are in a position, subject to your approval, to issue an official statement. This is a public process. And then the underwriters will come back with an interest rate, and we plan on closing the end of September.
Sandy, could you also please, just a very high level, just go through the basics of, you just gave us the total dollar figure. We have it in front of us, but just for the public's interest.
Yes, so this allows for borrowing of several different categories. The first category is equipment. It's an engine for the fire station and a rescue for the rescue. There are side roads and sidewalks, including refurbishment of a boat ramp and a public walkway. There's a significant amount here for drainage programs, stormwater, water quality programs, including approximately 2.1 million for Canyard Brook and $100,000 from Mount Hope. Those, of course, are key projects in the town that we've been working on for some time now. There are public building improvements, the HVAC for the library, Parks and Recreation building. There is some resiliency plan for the sewer department. There's some miscellaneous capital projects, the performance stage at the town beach. There's some environmental site work at the police station. And this, all of this comprises the 6 million plus or minus. These bonds are anticipated to be issued with something called premium. And so if the bonds are issued with premium, that means that we can lower the amount that's borrowed to just be for these projects. And then the premium will cover the cost of issuance, the underwriter's fees, the rating agency's fees and the like. So this would be the high number, the 6.80. It could be less if these are premium bonds.
Excellent. Okay, that was a great rundown. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This council administrator and department heads have a yearly capital projects meeting. And if a lot, if not all, that is being discussed here was discussed in that. So this continues our commitment for, well, that's a 5-year, but we actually look much farther than that, to not just wait for things to break. We have a good system in place and it gets better all the time. So hats off to my colleagues, to the administrator, to the department heads, and Sandy for all your hard work on this. So if this council concurs, we just need a motion to adopt this resolution.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
I just had a quick question on interest rates. Do we know where interest rates are at this point, or we won't know? How does that, when do
Nobody ever
when do we
asked you
lock
that,
in?
Sandy.
So, you know,
I know it's a loaded
every day is
question,
different. No, so.
but are they hovering around
4.5% or
Okay.
less. But that's what this was run at as just to see what the debt service would be. The process is an interesting one. What will happen is this will go out and there will be people that will bid on the bonds. And so it's a competitive process. So we will get the lowest interest rate at that point in time when the
Okay.
sale happens,
Okay.
which is something different than a negotiated, which is a slightly different. So you can rest be assured that the interest rate will be the lowest available that day we go to sale. Now, if the market goes crazy or there's some event that happens
Mhm.
and the interest rate does not make sense because it's a blip for that day, we can delay it. So we're not bound by accepting the interest rate at that day. So what will happen is the date of the competitive sale, Sarah and the financial advisor, Steve Massaroni, and I will get the anticipated results. We'll look at it. If it's something that's reasonable in the eyes of the financial advisor, then the town will accept the rates. And then from there, we'll go to closing a couple of weeks later. So.
Okay.
So the good news is you have flexibility. The other good news is it's a competitive process. So it will be the lowest interest rate at that point in time.
It's tremendous that 4.5% sounds high. That's crazy.
I've been
That's
doing
not
this, as you
high.
know, for a very long time. We
Yeah.
used to think 6% was a great interest rate for
Yeah.
the town because we also had bonds at 8 and 10%. So yes, it is a good reminder that although rates are going up, we're still very much in a low interest rate environment. And of course, these are tax exempt, so they're even lower than the interest rate that people would be paying for their home mortgages. So.
Any other questions for Sandy? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just one other thing I want to mention. There's something called a preliminary official statement, and it looks like this. I am going to ask that the financial advisor make sure that all 5 of the council members, in addition to the clerk and the town administrator, get a copy. The finance group will also get it. It has a lot of good information about the town, and I think that Sarah and her group and Steve and other people in town, Diane, have done a great job in updating sort of the presentation that's given to the rating agencies, and so I encourage you to read it.
We'll take the thunder from CC2 coming up in a little bit. Thanks, Sandy.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I2. This is Town Clerk Cadero, and this is in regards to an amendment to Ordinance 19-2, prohibited areas and rules governing peddlers.
If you could state your full name and address. No.
Melissa Cadero, and I live here at 10 Court Street. So this is just an amendment just to clarify some of the verbiage in our current ordinance. In 2020, the council made amendments to the peddlers and hawkers section in section 19 to further define the mobile food establishments and itinerant vendors. In part of that ordinance, there's prohibited areas where the food trucks and peddlers and hawkers can go. And in the definition, it kind of omitted, it used to classify the food trucks and peddlers and hawkers all under peddlers and hawkers. But once the council kind of further defined that, it didn't actually outline that that was also a prohibited area for the food trucks and the itinerant vendors. So this is just to kind of go back to the historical precedents and ensure that those are also included in that prohibited area, just to clean up the ordinance.
So you're asking to refer this to the solicitor to draft that amendment?
I absolutely am.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to refer to the solicitor as stated, to address as stated by the clerk. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I3, and this is Town Treasurer Hassel, and this is in regards to the use of the fund balance enterprise fund.
So I spoke with the administrator earlier today. Mr. Administrator, if you could just give us a high-level overview of the request here, and I know, take it away, sir.
So the request from the treasurer is to use $500,000 from the enterprise fund unassigned balance to cover project costs excess after change orders. There's a number of projects going on, as we know, in the last several years at the sewer plant. The RBCs, the rotating biological contactors were replaced. Miscellaneous improvements throughout the facility. Entire electrical system is currently being upgraded, all conduit, all switches, switch gear, electrical panels. And the big project right now is also the solids handling upgrades, which will keep it cleaner during heavy rain events. So well over $10 million worth of work's going on there. What we found was the original resolution from 2020 was for $2.7 million to get the electrical project going. The RBCs, the contactors, and also to do the design for the solids handling, those three projects. At that time, we had an idea of what it was going to cost us. When we started the miscellaneous work throughout the complex, we noticed we were starting to get some change orders. I'll give you some examples. I know superintendent here from the Water Pollution Control Plant, Jose, he'll be able to elaborate further, but some things like a lot of corroded pipes underground, a lot of concrete in the ground that wasn't marked when we were doing the excavation. The contractors that are in the buildings, in the basements, they found that the stairwells, the galvanized steel and the concrete was corroding, so we had to replace stairwells, grates above the man wells. So we were doing a number of change orders. Those change orders have amounted to about $200,000. We have the exact amount. Each one is thoroughly investigated. Our consulting engineer does a report on each change order. But these are things that are noticed, in the field as the work's being done. Our philosophy has been to repair as soon as we find a neglected piece of equipment. So that's what we've been doing. When the crew's there, we get it fixed. Last time the plant has had a significant upgrade like this, an overhaul was in the 1980s. So it's lasted this far. There's a lot of moving parts there. There's a lot of different chemicals that are used. Other examples are the underground chlorine piping was corroded. There was no way for us to know that until we started actually trying to make attachments to it. So they're all things that happen. So approximately the finance director's not here, but Carl Cooley, deputy treasurer, is. He'll tell you exactly how much that change order was. It's about 277,000. The other thing that we found was the study was initiated back in 2020, right? That bond, Carl, was 2020.
Yes, 2020.
2020, we assumed it would be about $400,000, $3 to $4 million we'd be spending on the solids handling upgrade. We started the study, we signed a contract with Beta Engineering, and what seemed to happen was DEM started requesting additional requirements for the solid handling, a lot more requirements. We went back and forth with DEM for a good number of time, good amount of time. And so we had to pay the engineering form, and the finance director has the amount, but it's probably about $200,000 in additional costs above what we thought it was, so $400,000. Sounds like a lot, but the project is a $7 million upgrade for solids handling. Typically, engineering costs 10% of any project, so it's still below what we would typically pay for design and engineering. So again, the total amount is actually $408,000 that we found. We had change orders up to $408,000. We do have some ARPA funds, but the unassigned fund balance right now is $1.3 million. I think it's like an all-time high. Normally it's $700,000. 2020, 2021 of 700. We're up to 1.3. So we think it's a good time and a good use of funds to take that 500 and put it to get these invoices paid for these change orders and keep the project moving. The other good news is, and you'll see it in the memo from the finance director, we're anticipating $123,000 leftover proceeds into our fund balance, unassigned fund balance. That's as a result of into it. There was good revenues in that department, and the costs are going down. The costs have been going down to run that plant. So that's we think it's a good use of the unassigned fund balance. It's still at Rob Strong looked up, it's still at about 20% of our overall expenses or operating costs of the department, which is where we want to be.
So a couple of things. When the administrator and I spoke a little bit earlier today, what initially looked like it was change orders, and you've expressed that a few times, and it felt like it was work that were in repairs that we were doing that were change orders for that. In fact, it was in issues that we found as those repairs were being done, and to neglect improving those or taking care of those as improving is too weak a word. Particularly one of the things that came to mind was an I-beam in one of the roofs of the building where a lot of processing is done was very degraded. So it seems very appropriate on it. And this enterprise fund is set up specifically for water pollution. And after doing all of this, we will be left with approximately, and Carl, would you check me on this, about 900,000? I might be ballparking a bit high, but.
Yeah, you might be a tick short on that a little bit. So I think we're going to hover around about $1 million after the use of funds.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That was comprehensive.
No, I fully understand. And, once you start a job, you always, I'm experienced that right now. So that you end up with all, different things that need to be addressed. And while you're going through it, you want to complete and complete the job well. So I'm good. I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Discussion?
Mr. Administrator, I just wanted to know, do you expect any other change orders, or this is it?
So the last major project to wrap up is the electrical system upgrades.
Okay.
Well, the solids handling also, that's closing out. But, so we're asking for 500,000. The actual overruns right now are 400
You mentioned 408.
Yeah, 408. So we are leaving a little bit of capacity there if there are any other overruns. Not that we anticipate any, but if we don't use it, obviously it'll stay right in unassigned fund balance. But we're asking the council to, so we don't have to come back to you again.
Right, that's, yeah.
So we're hoping we won't overspend anymore, but again, we're saying, I use the word overspend, we're improving the plant. That's what we're doing. We're refurbishing, we're replacing, we're fixing as we go along. And again, a lot of those parts, I know I can explain it, a lot of that stuff is underground. A lot of it is, there is no warnings.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I live in an old home. You start repairing and there's some unknowns that when you start going into a construction project that you're just not aware of, makes you a little nervous because you don't know what's behind that wall or behind those boards. But these are clearly unknowns. These are not changes because we made design changes and design changes and design changes. That's not the case here. This is we are attacking maintenance and unknowns that we that we came across. So it is what it is.
It's, to be honest with you, I think it's rather an exciting part of what we do because it's working. Jose, our violations of overflows are down. The amount of water that we treat is down, which means less chemicals we're using. And it was interesting to see that our operations are actually, the cost to operate the plants are going down. So I think we're using less chemicals and we're processing less water. Like Jose said, Jose, can you help us out here? Typically in the summer, about 3 million gallons per day, which is significantly lower historically.
Yeah, we've been seeing great improvement. As you know, we've been attacking the I&I issue. So we're seeing great improvements there.
I&I, Jose?
Yes, inflow and infiltration. That
Thank you.
excess water that manages to get in was supposed to be tight, but it's an age system and it isn't as tight as it should be. And so we've been addressing that. Overall, great improvements happening, and they continue to happen. And like as you have all recognized, as you start lifting the rugs, digging on the ground, you see items that need to be addressed. And the contractor is there on site to have them take them. For us not to address it, then it's just gonna cost more down the road.
Oh, I agree.
Any other discussion from the council?
No, I just have a quick question, but first, before I have a question for Bob and Carl, but first, I agree that these wastewater treatment facilities, when they're operating correctly, they're probably one of the most important modern infrastructure projects from an environmental standpoint in terms of keeping water clean and things like that in our Narragansett Bay and in the Bristol Harbor. The question I have has to do a little bit more with just that fund balance, 20%. That's about where we're supposed to be on that. I can't remember. I know we had a lot of discussion about it during budget time because I think we did dip into the fund balance a little bit for sewer fee.
We
to
did.
offset the sewer fees.
But this fund balance isn't the general fund balance. So meaning, Carl.
I believe the general fund balance was 14%. So
Okay, so we're
a little
way,
bit higher
yeah.
for the enterprise fund in order to.
Which is great news.
Yeah. Okay.
Those funds really.
okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is J1. This is RFP 1019. This is the replacement for front doors at Town Office Building, the former Reynolds School, 235 High Street. We did have the bid opening today at noon. We did receive one bid. The bid was received by Westway Construction, Inc. in the amount of $64,500.
I make a motion that we refer this to the town administrator, to act in the best interest of the town.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to refer to the administrator. Any discussion?
Any details on the replacement? Is it what, the same of what we're
It's-
used to getting, or is it gonna be different materials? How's it gonna?
It's made out of
Any
gold.
design yet, or we still coming over there? I mean,
Right.
So no, it was, so we have to replace the door, and we're putting one of those accessible motorized doors in, and both panels would open.
Got it,
In doing
okay.
So it was a good time to switch to the historically accurate doors. We had to go to the HDC, Historic District Commission. And so the recommendations were to put the old original doors back, replicas, which were wood with a skylight above.
oh,
So that's what the plan was, but it's just seeing the cost of materials is so high right now. I don't, we might have to consider what the product is that we're gonna use. But
Okay.
it'll be appropriate, but I'm not so sure. We didn't budget that amount of money.
yeah, but I realized it was gonna be motorized, which is nice for the ADA.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's be a nice upgrade.
Yeah, we found old photos of what the front of Brown school looked like, the doors and glass plate above.
Nice.
Beautiful.
We might be holding off for a little bit though.
Yeah, we'll see, we'll see. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's just not that beautiful, right? So-
Yeah, glass ones we have to shine them up.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. A little bit of Windex and everything's fine. Outstanding.
Thanks for the details.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is K1. This is Juan Mariscal, the chairman of the Bristol County Water Authority. This is the Tri-Town Monthly Report dated August 27th.
Motion to receive and file?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to receive and file. Any discussion?
Yes, it's very appreciated, the total report, quite interesting to read through it and to see, how far we've come and what's happening with the Bristol County Water Authority to serve the residents.
Agreed.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, on hoping, what is it, Tupelo, the coldest street in Bristol? The new pump station is pretty impressive,
Hmm.
Especially with the home. So,
Any other discussion?
anybody get that joke? Tupelo,
But
coldest street in Bristol? It's
Uh,
two below. All
uh,
right, I try, I
Oh,
really
nice.
try. I don't,
Okay.
my stand-up
Oh,
career, I
okay.
think, is over.
You
My
do
stand-up
have a
career
vote
is
against
over,
it.
but, all right.
Stick to your day.
Sorry,
job.
Chairman.
I'll be here
Madam
all
Clerk,
week.
you liked it, you liked it, you got,
Try the veal.
maybe a future.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Up to that joke, anybody? No. All right. K2.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is the Bristol County Water Authority. This is the fiscal year 2023 annual report, and this is dated from March 1st, 2022 to February 28th, 2023.
make a motion to receive and file
Second.
with great thanks, as I had already stated.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to receive and file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, if you want to call up that CC2 now.
Yes, please. So, Mr. Administrator, I'll let you do the good news here. If you don't, CC2 is, speaking of our rating.
So, standards and for, spent some time here in Bristol, and we were all interviewed at the finance department. Members, department heads, myself, and they went through our finances, and we were pleased to state that the report came in AA+, which is we're maintaining our good level of credit. Yeah, to give you a report.
Well,
It's excellent.
Well,
news.
taking it a step farther, the discussion that we just had with Sandy Mack, our bond counsel, the reason why we get an outstanding interest rate, the reason why so many people will bid on that bond is because we pay our bills and we're fiscally responsible, not only with the things that you see, but sometimes things that you don't see. For example, the pension program and how much we fund to it. And none of this happens by accident. So Administrator brought up some great points. Additional is that this council and councils beforehand, administrators beforehand, the decisions that are made are why we're here today. And it's the reason why, well, let's go back a couple of agenda items, that we have $1.3 million in our enterprise fund, that we're able to address issues and address them directly and immediately. And a lot of communities just do not have that capability. And if they had to borrow money to do it, they would pay a much higher interest rate. So the combination of good government, of good finance, nothing is perfect, right? There's always areas for improvement, but hats off to all that are involved here right now, because we are always looking for that improvement. So this is an absolute wonderful sunshine moment, and it's a continued sunshine moment, because this is a really big deal. This is outside and very important agencies saying that this town does a great job. And it's not just what we're talking about, it's everything combined. And I really mean it, everybody in this room.
Yeah.
None of it happens just here or just there or just with you. It's the combination of all the efforts. So I thought it was appropriate and important for us to talk about it.
I fully agree, Mr. Chairman. It's important that we highlight this and keep our residents and our voters informed to see that we make, well, taxpayers, to see that we actually are very responsible, physically responsible, and certainly it's shown through this report.
Any other discussion? Can we have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, second by Tony, receive and file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Then we have one more agenda item from Counselor Lay.
Oh, do you have to? Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm glad that Diane Williamson is here. Administrator Contente is here to maybe talk a little bit about the America Byways grant that you guys received. I remember during the pandemic when Diane was telling us about this grant, you showed up on Zoom and you did it on Zoom. And I think you thought we approved it. And I think you thought you were on mute because we heard you, like a cry of joy from you afterwards. And I didn't really think too much about it then. But now, after hearing about the selection of our town receiving this grant, now I see why you were so excited. So I just wanted to invite the town administrator or Diane to give us a little bit of the overview about this grant, because we have had some constituents that are pretty excited about it too. So.
Let me start with Diane. So it's great timing for this. So we also got $1 million in DOT funding for Hope Street. It's Hope Street sidewalks south of Constitution. As you know, that has been in the transportation improvement program for many, many years. We've been advocating for many, many years. Actually, our letters go back to the state, back to 1999. I know Tony worked on it also. But what kind of got the state moving on it was our congressional delegation was able to inject some money into those sidewalks. So to start, Director Alvidi, it's in design right now, and within 2 years they're going to start construction. So I think it's 2025 you'll actually see construction. So the area that we focused on was where the Arizona Marine Museum is, because that's where people are coming to shore. That's where people are exchanging ideas in industry, and that blue tech industry. A lot of those ideas are formed right there at the museum, at the regattas, at the events that they have there. So we think that that's a real key area for us. American Cruise Line, they come in and there's no sidewalks, and it's certainly not accessible sidewalks. So we've walked with DOT and the consulting engineers. We walked all the way to Roger Williams University, and we're trying to press them to go all the way to Roger Williams. I'm not so sure if the funding is going to take the sidewalks all the way to Roger Williams. But the good news is we got the state's attention, and they're designing and working on Hope Street sidewalks. And again, there was my apologies, there was a press release there. We weren't involved in any invitations for that. We were invited. I went down and it was actually fairly large event, which we were surprised, but that was last week. So my apologies. I don't think it for council.
Yeah. No,
Certainly should have been there because you've been a big part of it over the years, advocating for the sidewalks. All 5 of you.
yeah, just a quick question, Steve or Diane. You said that eventually these sidewalks might go all the way down to Roger Williams. I mean, is there a place where we know how far down they will go for sure, just based on the grant money that we received, or?
Not yet.
Well, honestly, the indicators that I got was to Wood Street. So
Okay.
it was the Constitution where they left off in 2006, 7 years ago, when they did downtown Bristol. So Constitution to Wood Street, so past the Lobster Pot, that would be this next phase they're working with. That is what Director LB told me at the press event. But I don't have the plans yet, they're in design, but that's,
Okay.
and that 1.7 that we have, that's still not enough. I think that's like a $5 million project, so the state's gonna have to use their transportation money to bring it that far. That's why I'm skeptical. I don't know if they're gonna go all the way to Roger Williams. It's quite a long stretch. But it's a start.
Yeah,
And
it is a start. Yeah, it is a start.
We'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you anticipate that the sidewalks will be widened when they begin installing and doing some of the sidewalk work, or?
I think they're gonna be legal, whether it's the 3
3
feet,
feet.
4 feet, I don't know, but it'll be the legal width.
Mhm.
It's all, in fact, the state ADA coordinator was with us when we walked the route, so they're part of the design. So there'll be the ramps, ramps at the intersections.
Kind of like the Hope Street work that the town did on Hope Street, right?
The state sidewalks that the town.
That the town did. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last question I had from a constituent was, will there be bike markings along that side, or is that part of that bike network that we have, or?
So the grant doesn't include that. I think what they're gonna try to do where they can, and again, as Steve said, we're still waiting for the design, is where they can widen the shoulders to make the shoulders more bikeable.
Okay.
That's what they're hoping to
Right.
accomplish and work into the design. But I don't know, all of that has to be measured, and I don't know exactly how they'll do that or where, for what stretch they'll be able to do it. But I just wanted to add to what Steve said too, was there's the wall along Hope Street in front of the Herschel Marine Museum. Right now, there's big orange and yellow plastic jersey barriers because the wall is in bad shape there along with the sidewalk in front of it. So the focus of this grant was to include the wall restoration with the sidewalk.
So the wall belongs to town/state or state/town?
I believe it belongs to the state, and they've asked us to do some research in our records to confirm the ownership. of
I didn't
that.
know that. Okay. Thank you.
One other point of interest, Burnside Street, we're pretty far along with our design, so the timing is nice. Because a big expense for us would have been that intersection where the ADA ramps are. So we're coordinating, our engineering is coordinating with the state to make sure that the elevations are right. You remember, we have the Burnside Street pedestrian corridor and trying to improve the parking there. We've had our community meetings and we're pretty far along with our design, so this is gonna fit very well with the Hope Street work.
Outstanding.
That's very exciting. I was just curious, is drainage going to be part of in scope as far as that goes? Okay, great.
You good with the receive and file?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to receive and file.
Second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Solicitor.
Motion would be to convene an executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 46(5)(a)(2) litigation relative to the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns and the bungalow tax appeal, and also to convene pursuant to 4246(5)(a)(5) acquisition of open space.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We will go into executive session and finish the meeting out here, but if you're watching on the internet, have a good evening. Thank you. Thank you.